What is going on, everyone? Mega here, and welcome to the very first video in a series devlogs that I'm gonna be working on. These the devlogs are for a game that I've been working on in Renpai for quite a long time now. This project has gone on and off, and it's gone through multiple revisions over the years, and in this video I'm going to be going over those revisions and show you what I got so far. Well, not really show you what I got, because currently we're going through another revision. Basically what happened is that while I was making this game, what I do is I make all the CGs or backgrounds in Blender, and I was using cycles for the backgrounds, and what I was doing for the sprites is that I was hand drawing them in a clip studio paint. But I came to the realization that if my sprites are anime style, why am I having realistic backgrounds? And looking through my old renders, I realized that they really needed to be redone. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. Right now I'm in the process of redoing all the renders, as basically instead of using cycles, I'm using Eevee instead, and the renders are actually looking a lot better. And so another thing I'm gonna go over in this video is I'm gonna show you some of the old, like one of the original versions of the games, just as a comparison, just so you can see how much the game has changed over the years. And one final thing that we have to mention about is that I'm also working on another game. This game it's a brand new game that I recently started. It's a anime style game that's made in Unreal Engine, and currently in Unreal Engine there isn't anything in it. There's just a skybox that I got from the Unreal Marketplace, which is actually a really good anime style skybox in my opinion. It comes with its own day and night cycle, and it's $40, so it's not too expensive, and I felt it's really good. So I'll link it in the description for you guys, in case and if you want to pick it up. And I highly recommend it. It's a really well made skybox. So let's dive right into it. So first off, I'm gonna show you my. Well, first off, I guess I should go over what the synopsis of my Renpai game is. So here is the synopsis. I'm gonna actually pull it on screen, and I'm gonna read it off, and so you can actually see it as well. So this is it right here. The game follows our protagonist Shuyaku Highland, who is an average high school student who attends the prestigious High Kakali Institute, which is a made-up school. And this game, this synopsis doesn't go over it, but this game actually takes place in London. So that is our setting for this game. Okay. Despite being born into a rich family, he honestly finds his own life rather boring, failing class and constantly getting into fights all day. His delinquent nature makes the other students scoff at him, and seeing him as rather plebeian or barbaric. However, this boring, disrupted life of his is about to come to an end. One day he opens his postal box as usual, expecting to find junk mail, but to his surprise, he finds a package sent to him by his father, who is currently working in America. Opening the package, he finds two things: a letter from his father and a book called The Art of Hypnotism. The bored Chuyaku doesn't care about what the book has to say, so he just tosses it aside and forgets the whole thing, until the very next day, when his next door neighbor and childhood friend Saki Itsuka comes over to his place. Notices the book and felt intrigued by it. She decides to dare Shushuyaku on whether or not he could hypnotize her. He accepts the challenge out of boredom, but his boredom quickly turns upside down as he actually manages to hypnotize her. Shocked at how easy it was, he decides to use it and make his life just a little bit more interesting. To see how far he can go with this skill, he sets his sights on the school he is attending, deciding to use his newfound abilities to potentially take over the school in a fun little game of sorts. Little does he know, however, was that this was exactly what his father predicted what would happen. Now he sits back and observes how far his son will go in an experiment of sorts. Now you may be wondering why we're making a game about hypnotism. So the story behind it is that ever since I was little, I've always had an interest in just the concept of the mind, and like just what the mind is capable of. And so when I was developing my concept, I decided why not make a game about hypnotism, because it's something that I have an interest in. And honestly, in one of the big things about indie development is that if you're making a game and you're in a pretty much solo team like I am, you don't want to make a game that it isn't something that's something that you want to make. You have to have some sort of interest in it, and that's why I decided to make a game like this, and that's the reason why. So back then, as I mentioned, this game has gone through multiple revisions. So the original name was, let me pull up the actual thing. I have a lot of images open to show you. So this was the original main menu. You can see this one wasn't even made in Blender. It is very bad. It was called Hypnotic Student Infiltration of Kukuro High School. This back then the game was, the setting of the game was actually to Japan, and so it was basically advised to us that if you're making a game, you wanna make your setting not to a country that you've never been to, or like pretty much don't make a game about taking place in a country that you know nothing about. So we decided we settled on London because it's closer to where I am in the U.S. and I know a lot more. I have more knowledge about London than I do about the culture of Japan, and so that's why we decided to move it over to London. So I will now show you what we changed it to. the what we changed it to was here. Come on. So we changed it to this. This one was when it was made in Maya. Pretty much to explain it, I entered. I started learning 3D modeling like I'd say about maybe 5-6 years ago, and so I started in learning 3D in Maya, and so I put this together in a Maya, and we named it the Slaves and Shards. We kept this name for a while, but then recently, that's when I realized that if my sprites are anime style, why am I making realistic backgrounds? So I will now show you what the main menu now looks like. So I put this together in Blender using NPR, which stands for non-photorealistic rendering, and it was rendered in Eevee. We renamed the game to the Hypnotist's Experiment, since he's doing an experiment, and since he learned hypnotism, he is now a hypnotist. So that's why we decided to change it to that. And so I used Eevee in this, and I used the toon shader method in making this. If you don't know what I'm referring to, the toon shader method in Blender is pretty much so what you do is that if you have an object, you delete the principal BSDF, you replace it with a diffuse, then you put that together, then you link that to a shader to RGB, and then you link that to a color ramp, set the color ramp to constant, and you set your second color to 0.5, and then you put that as your base color. And doing that, when you move your color ramp up and down, it creates a toon style anime look. It's not perfect, but it gets the job done. And I also added an outline to the actual object through a method known as the inverted hole, which is basically just using a solidify modifier and just flipping the normals. It's a method that a lot of people use. There is an outline modifier in Blender now, but I use I haven't upgraded my Blender to 3.6 yet. So in the Blender that I'm currently using, I don't have access to the outline modifier, so that's why I use the inverted hole method, which is still pretty good. It's just the outline modifier does a better job. So that's a thing I'll be moving towards in the future, but just keep that in mind. Okay, and so let's go over, and then I'll show you some the changes that I made. So this is the first CG in the game that I had. You can see that it's very you could tell this was done in cycles. It is pretty. It's a decent render, but again, my game is anime style, so why? So this doesn't fit well with my game, with the game that I was making. So so this is now I will show you the new render that I did. So this is what I'm using now, and as you can see, it's a lot better. you can actually see the road now. You can see their cell shading on the cars, and I created a night sky, gave it like a little bit of a I forget what it's called, like a galaxy. I can't remember. And I added multiple colors to create like it just looked a lot better. This and I added like much more lighting and just pretty much just made a much better scene. And you can and it shows comparing the two. And so this is the direction that we're going towards. And so this one right here was the second CG. Again, I can honestly say that this is blurry, specifically over here and over here, and like pretty much there's a lot of blurry spots in here that I didn't see before, and it's honestly it needed some work, and you can see like there's a line on the top of the fire here. This was trying. It was supposed to be realistic, but it looks it honestly that doesn't look good looking back on it. And now this is what I'm using now, and you can see that it looks a lot better. The colors are mixing. The fire here doesn't have a line on it. There's light coming off the fence. I created a night sky. You can see the light reflecting off the table and off the walls. You can see light coming off the kitchen, and it just it honestly looks much more like what you would expect. And yeah, and so that's and now the final. That's pretty much most of the stuff that I wanted to show, but I do want to show you the old sprites, just to show just to show you what I was doing. Yeah, so this was Saki back then. It's you can see it's very you can tell this was it's very jagged. The shading is okay, but it's very jagged, and you can see some white areas that I missed. This was a long time ago. And then this one was this was a screenshot from the original game. Back then, how I made it is that he got the book from a homeless man. So like that's just another example that which is a common mistake in indie development when you're writing a game. Feedback. You need feedback when you're making an indie game, because you may think it's what you're writing is good, but but you need to keep it to you need to hear what other people think of it. And yeah, so I'll just read it, and you can see like this was the name of it. My eyes shoot open, and I see a homeless man staring at me with a huge grin on his face. I could tell he's homeless because, for one thing, I can smell his dirty, filthy, disgusting sweat from where I stand, which is quite a distance away, mind you. What the hell? How does this guy want? How dare he give me such a dirty look? He doesn't even know me. Yeah, and do I have anything else? Yes. So this was another sprite of Saki. Very bad. The head is too big. For her body. There's no correct proportions. It looks very spongy. It's very bad. I will be the first to admit that my early art was really bad. And so this one was another sprite that I did. This one is better, but if I'm being completely honest, I was using Fate Stay Night sprites as a reference when I was drawing these, so you can see them in these sprites. It's yeah, I really improved from back then. And here's a picture from the original game, and this actually shows why feedback is necessary, because my original protagonist name was Flair U. Yeah. Careful now, that attitude is gonna make you fat someday. Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking. And this was the final one. Now this one is a bit better. It's you can see that there's actually color mixing, and it is better, but this was still another Fate Stay Night reference. This was I used Fate Stay Night as a reference for this sprite, and you can tell in this sprite. Okay, so that's everything that I wanted to show pretty much. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over the second project. So right now the project doesn't have an actual it has a general concept, but it doesn't have a synopsis currently. So the general rundown of this game is that it's an anime style game that's made in Unreal Engine. The setting is a cyberpunk city that takes place on the moon. It's roughly the setting is roughly about the 2090s, and it's basically parkour, cyberpunk, and as I mentioned before, I very much enjoy the concept of the mind, and like what the mind is capable of. So this game it involves mind altering and hypnosis again, just because I honestly feel it's a good. I enjoy making games like that because I think it's an interesting concept. So what we have right here is the first character that we're working on. Her name is Laika, and she is a wolf girl, cyberpunk. The character is pretty much mostly done, but I'm working on some kinks on her. So the first thing you can probably see is that her poly count is at almost 2 million polys. Now I will explain why that is. So the reason is, so you'll notice that her hair is split into two parts, because I'm working on the UV mapping right now. So pretty much my workflow is that I select one hair strand, then I separate it, then I add a seam to it, then I unwrap it, size it to fit inside one of these squares, and then I join it with the other one, with this one. So that way, so pretty much this the one I'm selecting on right now is gonna be the full hair once I'm done. But like if I go tab into edit mode, you can see how many polys it has. The reason it has so many polys is because I applied a subdivision modifier to it to like make the hair more smooth, and that was a mistake on my part. So so once I'm done, I'm gonna try and like simplify the polys on the hair, so to try and get this poly count down. And you'll notice that if I go over here, she has two tails. Well, one of them is good and the other is bad. The reason is because this one is it's an an MMD tail that I just grabbed from an Arknight character, and I'm using it as a reference, as a modeling reference. This is going to be her actual tail, but I'm still working on it. Right now it looks like a fish. So if I go into viewpoint left and I switch to X-ray mode and then I tap into edit mode, you can see what I'm working on. So pretty much what I'm doing is I'm doing loop cuts, and I'm just trying to get this general shape. Once I got the general shape, I'm gonna go into the top view, and I'm gonna move this over to here, and then I'm gonna like pretty much try and get the outward shape of it. And then I'm gonna do some extrudes to try and get some to give it a little bit more detail. And yeah, and then after that, I'm gonna go back to work on unwrapping the hair and try and simplify those polys. And so yeah, that's pretty much what I got. And so one other thing is that I'm not exactly ready yet, but I'm gonna try and do these videos once a month, and I'm depending on the feedback, where we're thinking about opening a Patreon in the future to just get some funding in, and because honestly we for the Renfrey project, this Patreon would be for the Renfrey project, mind you. Just this would be this Patreon would be used to fund to hire an artist that we have our eyes on, that we would like to hire, but we need to raise up money to hire this artist. So yeah, yeah, that's pretty much what I got. So yeah, so look out in the coming days for I'm gonna be trying getting more stuff out on this next month. And in the meantime, if you'd like to join the Discord server, my Discord server, which is where I'm going to be hosting a lot of this stuff, is you can find it in the description. So yeah, I apologize for how long this video was, but yeah, that's pretty much what I got. So yeah, this has been Mega, and I will see you again next time.